8:07 in the AM, and it's a Thursday. It's time for Island Tea. We are Island Tea. Good morning, Kay.
Good morning, Jamster. And good morning, St. Kitts and Nevis. How are we doing on this lovely Thursday morning?
Well, I'm doing good. How are you?
I am doing good. I just have a sip. So, folks, for those of you who want to know what tea we have today, it is lemongrass and mint, all local, no sugar. So you know it's definitely going to be good. No sugar.
Okay. Not like you need
I
sugar.
told
anyway.
you you're sweet enough. We are all sweet enough, so no sugar, okay?
That always shuts me up. Azard is on the way. So
Yeah,
he
he's
should
on
be
the
here
way.
soon. Okay, so we all know what happened yesterday. So
Yeah.
Is it 27 or 28 now?
Oh
28.
boy, it's 28 condolences to the friends and families for their loss. But this nonsense has to stop. This is sheer nonsense. And I was listening to a program yesterday that say, if you see something, say something. And the fact that we don't trust the persons that are in charge to give them the information that we have, very well knowing that we will not be protected, because what I'm getting from society is I won't be protected. You're going to say, Kortensia said, and then we're going to be in problems. So who do we go to?
There you go.
These times must come, but there's something that we can do to curb it. The youngest life lost for this year, an 18-year-old. He has not yet lived. This is sickening. And then we're just counting. As I said, it's doubled now. I just hope we don't have a 29th and a 30th, because that would be very, very disgusting. And
let's just hope we don't hit the 30 before the end of the year.
Oh no, that's not good. And I see an article where they're saying the Prime Minister is not saying anything. I remember when Mr. Walwyn was in charge, every time we had an issue, that's the last commission I remember coming out and always informing us of what was happening. And as I would have said before, I know we are not the US, we are St. Kitts and Nevis, but somebody has to come out and do these things and say these things. Yes, the Prime Minister maybe will issue a statement in his time. And this is just me speaking, because I don't communicate with the Prime Minister, so I don't know. But we are expecting too much from him. Yes, he's in charge of national security, but he has persons in place to brief us.
You have functionaries.
Exactly.
Yes, I agree.
We can't break the camel's back. Come on.
I've said that before, yeah. I mean, don't expect the Prime Minister. And yesterday was his birthday. What do you want him to do?
I know, jeez. Some empathy. I empathize for both families that would have lost and the families that would have lost this year, but I don't think it is the Prime Minister's duty.
I believe, right, if I ran for office, I probably wouldn't win, because I don't believe in opposition for opposition's sake. You have to be reasonable.
Yeah.
Yesterday was his birthday. You have a chief of police.
Exactly.
You have the chief of police has a PRO, blah, blah,
exactly.
blah. Let them deal with it.
And they have to deal
and
with
they're
it.
dealing with it. And incidentally, we had a story on the news. It was the second story, obviously the murders led.
Yeah.
Talking about the security forces plans for the upcoming season. So they laid out some of the things that they're going to be doing and so on. So he did have a press conference. I don't know if it was yesterday or
you mean the security briefing? I think if it was the security briefing, it was the day before.
It was the day before.
Yeah,
okay,
I don't think it was yesterday.
Okay,
it was the day before.
Yeah, I didn't hear
but
the date.
no, I don't want to say I'm afraid, but I'm very concerned for Carnival. Like, I don't participate. I'm not outside. The stage is normally placed. Well, the stage last year was right in front of my house, and I was inside cleaning. But I'm concerned for those folks who want to go out there and enjoy themselves, because until an innocent life is lost, I don't think people are going to take this serious, because we really don't know who is doing it. We don't know if it's beef, as Issue said yesterday, and we tend to point the fingers at one group and say it must be them.
I mean,
but we don't know.
2 in 1 fell swoop.
I know.
3 injured, 2 dead.
Yeah.
This is not good.
No.
And
then for the third one, I'm afraid for him, because he wasn't finished then. They might try to finish him at another date. This is sickening.
Yeah, unless maybe he could have been a situation where, well, he's a witness, so let's take him out as well. Oh, so it still applies. It still applies later on if that's the case.
This can't be cool, and then as a society we just be like, oh, we're not like them, so like it doesn't concern us, we don't care, or it's the Prime Minister's or the Prime Minister's duties to fix it. It's not.
It's not the Prime Minister's duty.
Society.
I wouldn't say. I would say, yeah, he's the head of the government, but at the same time, he has people, and we have we have social affairs. Education, they have to find a way that they have to find. I'm just thinking all these government agencies, the government as a whole. Of course, I'm sure the Prime Minister is going to try and spearhead, let's say, global policies that will try and get to the root of the problem. But we can't be blaming the Prime Minister every time somebody gets shot. The Prime Minister is not telling people
to go and shoot.
And
he's not pulling the
I
trigger.
don't understand.
And the way they treated the police yesterday, I understand that you're grieving, but come on.
AZ probably doesn't agree with. He's like, oh, it's him. You need to blame. We need to blame.
No,
Umi.
but if you listen to issues yesterday, EK said they blamed Dr. Douglas, they blamed Dr. Harris, and now they want to blame Dr. Drew.
Mm-hmm.
It's an ongoing problem.
Yeah. We have to get to the root. The problem is, one of the problems I think is we keep wallowing in reactivity and and basically cosmetic surface value solutions. Attempts at solutions. We need to get to the root of the problem.
Yep.
And start. And it's not going to take overnight.
No.
It's going to take at least 10 years to deal with the problem, because if you deal with the root problem, we need to find out. I mean, we have sociologists and the National Security Advisor, I think. I'm pretty sure we had him here a few years ago. One time he came to visit, and Clive Backus interviewed him, and I'm pretty sure he did sociology and psychology and so on. I'm pretty sure. I could be wrong, but we need to get to the core cause of this problem and start dealing with it in the schools. This is why I keep saying civics needs to be put back into the schools. Things like personal responsibility. You're teaching things like personal responsibility, ethics, money management. When I used to go to boys' school,
well, money management is back.
Is back?
Yeah, money management is back. I think they're teaching it from the preschool now. Yeah. So that's back, but we need the others.
And some kind of program to incentivize nuclear families, because a father figure is needed in the household. Yeah. That goes a long way as far as the discipline factor and keeping kids in line. That goes a long way. I mean, I always talk about how my wife, like, sometimes she's tussling with the kids, right? And she's like, Dalila, do this. Kito, do this. And they're ignoring them. And I just have to
watch them.
You know about that? Yeah.
There's that one parent, once they look at you, you know what time of day it is.
I just call out, Dalila. That's all I have to do.
And she's done.
And she straightens up. And even when I come and I give them a look, you see them get serious one time. Yeah. And you need that in a household. Yeah. Because they know I don't play. Yeah.
Because mommy's more soft-hearted, and most mommies allow them to, the little win. But soon as daddy looks, it's like, they're going to behave.
They're like, daddy don't play.
Yeah, the same thing with my niece and nephew. As soon as they hear we're going to call daddy, they cool down. Yeah.
I remember, I give you a funny
I was afraid of my mommy, not my daddy that much. My daddy's cool.
I give you a funny story. One time, right? My son, he was sleeping in the living room, and my wife was waking him up, telling him, come and brush your teeth and go to bed, right? And he was basically not thinking that. I thought he was sleeping, and I thought he didn't see me. I think I must have got up, like, in a kind of
awake.
Kind of. He woke up on time. No, serious. I was like, I started to laugh because I was like, geez, I thought he was sleeping.
Daddy got a strong impact.
He woke up one time and, like, started moving, like, briskly.
Hi, good morning to everybody.
Hey, what's up?
Good morning, AC.
Sorry to be late this morning. I had unforeseen circumstances.
Boy.
And as I was making my way here, I overheard the discussion that was being had in relation to the number of homicides that we have for the year. Yeah. And in truth and in fact, we see that the numbers have increased. I think a lot of persons are concerned. In fact, a lot of young people are talking. I was just in a restaurant last evening and I overheard some young people talking about the situation that we are facing here. We realized in schools just recently, Sadler's secondary school, there was the instance where persons had to vacate the school because there was a threat of a gun being
in
there.
school, yeah.
In fact, when the police did the investigation and their report, they indicated that they did not recover any guns or had in their possession any
Yes.
guns from that school. We talk about violence as it relates to children, students. We talk about the disrespect at the homes and stuff like that. And of course, trying to quell some of the problems that are arising. It is indeed saddening. I wish to share my condolences to the families and friends of these individuals, because crime is not something that only affects one person, it affects many persons. The victim's family, the victim's friends, and also the perpetrator, family and friends. I just want to encourage mothers, parents, loved ones out there, when you see your children going down the wrong road, please do speak to them and give them some words of enlightenment. In fact, sometimes you think that children don't listen, but in the darkest hour, those words, those sound advice often echoes in mine. I also want to urge the government of St. Kitts and Nevis, because although they are not, of course, you can't put them responsible for what is happening in the crime, but of course they have a responsibility to ensure that the people of St. Kitts and Nevis feel safe. And so I want to urge the government, the Minister of National Security, the Ministry of National Security, and the police force to do what is necessary according to the law to ensure that there is some peace and stability in the country. We talk about the Ministry of National Security and the government. And the reason why I am calling for government assistance in this area is because government controls the resources of the state. If there's something happening in a country, your first call is to the government in order for the government to make you feel protected and safe at home. Of course, you have a responsibility as well, but a greater onus is on the government in ensuring that they put things in place in order to curb the situation. Of course, we know crime is something that is multifaceted. It is something that is very complex because we're dealing with society, we're dealing with human behavior, and you cannot control human behavior. But what we would want, or what I would want, is to see some proactive measures being put in place, whereas we feel that something is being done. I urge, because if you look at what is happening, it seems as though these are retaliation. Based on what I am observing, I don't have any inside information, but something that is, retaliation. So, because it was said that one person was released, I don't know how true this information is, but this is what was circulated. One person was released from on bail, and upon release, this is what happened. So it seemed to be some sort of conflict. And so I am urging the government, those persons in charge, our leaders, to try and intervene where possible, create social programs that would enhance and change behavior or even influence behavior. And so, again, I don't want persons to take this the wrong way. Whoever party is in government, I think whoever is in government is responsible to ensure that the citizens of that nation, that country, feels at least some safety and some ease.
But yesterday, and I said a lot of coincidences normally happens in my life. I was on my way back home, and the prison transport stopped at the prison, and I was just behind it. And I looked at how 2 doors had to be open. And then when I saw who came out of that van, it hurt me. A young boy. And a long time when people were in prison, they would hide their face. He came out. He stood up with all his might, as tall as he can be. He looked around, and then the police basically let him know, shoo him in, like, you have to go. And I'm like, you are proud to be... Listen, I swear he doesn't look older than 21. and he's in the uniform, so that means that he's sentenced. He's either coming from court or he's coming from the hospital. But he stood there in pride in that uniform, and it hurt my soul to see that he didn't care that he was going back in there. I had the opportunity to interview Remy Gumbs, and he said the air in there is different, the food is different, that he decided to get his act together and decide this is not for me anymore. And Remy's going around presently to all the schools, speaking to young people, letting them know this is not the life you want to live. And that young man yesterday, he left a terrible impression on me. Because I was like, you cannot stand there being proud that you're in cuffs and you're going back into a place that someone says the air in there is different than the air that we breathe outside.
Yeah.
So what if we're trying to help them, Azard, and they don't want the help?
And that's the reality. But at least let there be some sort of assistance. We hear about a lot of things that are happening in the schools, and I am engaged with persons who work at the schools, and sometimes you feel like, and sometimes they feel like they, even in the schools, if something was to happen, that there is no justice, nothing that will be done. In fact, I made reference earlier on a previous show when Michelina was here, when we spoke about the education system and what is, and there was an incident where a teacher, his vehicle was set on fire. And based on the my conversation with said, they seem to have been at the time of my conversation. I don't know if something has changed now, but then there seem to have been nothing resolving that matter. You understand? I spoke to a teacher just recently where they had a child in the school, and the child was misbehaving, and the teacher thought it best to just leave it, ignore it, and the problem would go away, because sooner or later the child would not be in that school. Because that said person said to me, if anything was to happen and anything was to spark, then who would be at the teacher's assistance? And so these are situations that we need an all-inclusive approach. And there are sometimes troublemakers in the society, and when you think you go to the parents, sometimes the mothers don't want nothing to do with the same child. And at the same time, the mother is saying there's nothing that she can do. And so that is why I'm saying there must be a all-inclusive approach, where it is that we, of course, government, because government has the resources. Government has the resources of the state. They could easily hire maybe professionals who have the necessary skills to bring in and talk to persons who are at risk. They have the resources to perhaps build facilities that would encourage and foster more learning and more and to curb this kind of activity. Of course, you can't get it down to zero, but you could at least put in measures. And this is what I'm urging. So I was listening to programs with saying that, okay, then you can't blame the government, you can't blame me. And no one is blaming the government. I don't think overall everyone is blaming the government.
But if you hear most of it, people are saying,
yeah, but people want the government to put in place measures that would ensure that something is done. Proactive measures, because government has a responsibility to its citizens to ensure that the citizens feel safe.
But they can do that without the Prime Minister having to speak every time. Obviously, I'm not saying he can't speak, but it is not necessary that he speak on everything.
You realize when I mentioned this, I never mentioned him speaking.
Yeah,
in fact,
speaking on.
Yeah, I said
right?
that measures must be put in place, and it shouldn't be a chat where you just want people to hear that something is being done, and then at the end of the day, when persons are looking, it seems like nothing. We hear it from the farmers just yesterday when the farmer said that, and you asked the question, and when the minister said something, but the farmer himself indicated that such isn't the case. So at the end of the day, what I am urging those persons in power, those persons with the resources of the state, to look at it at a holistic approach. Use the resources of the state to ensure that things are put in place so the citizens feel protected. Because when we look at because this seems to be what it is, internal warfare in homes of persons. If it is that outside territories are threatening a state, the state doesn't look to the other individual, the state looks to the government in order for the government and to use the state resources to ensure that they are safe. And same way, if something is happening within our country, because we have up to 28 now, It's not 4. It's not 5. It's not 6. It's not 7. It's 28. And so, and there seem to be a spill-off. Persons, when you talk to persons on the road, persons aren't expecting that this number to decrease. They're expecting it to increase because of retaliation. Because they're saying that there's going to be some sort of retaliation. And so if persons can feel that way, and the average person on the road could feel that way, imagine, I could only imagine perhaps at least our leaders should feel that way and try to curb it. I try to intervene where they can. Everything doesn't have to be in terms of press release or something like that, but at least put in proactive measures and the people feel safe that something is being done.
But the fact that the perpetrators are doing this in daylight, as that before people hit, people wait for the night, people wait for a big crowd, they're doing this in broad daylight.
Yeah.
It's like they don't care. And then what if innocent civilians were seated there amongst those gentlemen, not having anything to do with maybe what would have happened if it was an altercation, as you say, if it's infighting amongst the group? What then?
And that is the thing, is that is sad reality, because the average person no longer feels safe.
No.
Because, as you said, this happens in broad daylight. It doesn't matter where you are.
What about the impending carnival? What about the revelers that are going to be out there? Who's going to be? What protection do they have? Because these people are going to mingle amongst them, let off their firearms amongst them, and we don't know if it's going to get to the intended target, which is sad to hear me say the intended target, but this is the reality that we have in our small little federation.
Mm-hmm.
At least there's a light of hope. She mentioned Remy.
Mm-hmm.
He's part of the solution, definitely.
Yeah.
And people like Nital, for example, Nourish Nital, he teaches classes in there. And I know that he tries his best to impart maturity and thoughtfulness in the convicts. So all of those people can be part of the solution.
Yeah, and perhaps with government assistance too, with the resources, could highlight their efforts and really showcase something. Because as you said, and Remy Gumbs, as you indicated, I think that would be a perfect opportunity for government to work with him, because government has the resources. It could make this thing such a wider approach. And why I say government, because government, we talk about the schools. Government is in control of the schools and through the Ministry of Education. Mm-hmm. We talk about safety and the police force. Government is in control of the police force in terms of safety and national security.
Let me interject here, Azard. When these gentlemen are released from prisons, for those who spend time in there, are they truly rehabilitated? I can say that for Remy Gumbs. I don't know about the others, because some of them go right back. So is the rehabilitation system really working for them? So I understand what you're saying.
That's a good question.
That's a question, yes.
And when we talk about rehabilitation, I would think that that would fall under the government. To ensure that social services, to ensure that, and so that is why. So no one is saying, "Oh, because of you, this is what is happening." We're saying, you have seen some things happening. Some people are saying that, though. You are seeing things happening.
You are critically thinking, but the others aren't.
We need to know that the government is looking at the situation through all the lens, using all the resources at its disposal, and within using the ministries that they have in order to ensure. And then if it is that they are using at length their resources and nothing is happening, then we could say something else. But I think that we all need to look at coming together. Okay. And I think government should lead on that.
I like that.
Okay, let's put a point there. 8:31. Let's take a quick break. The phone calls are heating up. So when we come back, we'll take some calls. Let's go to the break and come back. Island Tea continues.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
Need more ways to win cash? Play Pick 3 and Pick 4 with the Caribbean Lottery today. Spend as low as $1 on each game and you can become our next winner. Spend more and win up to $4,000 with Pick 3 or up to $40,000 with Pick 4. Visit thecaribbeanlottery.com for how to play and to see daily draw results. Remember, Pick 3 and Pick 4 each give you 12 chances daily to win. So join the winning team. Over 3 million EC dollars paid out in Pick 3 and Pick 4 so far this year. Play today at any Caribbean Lottery agents island-wide. Must be 21 and over to play.
This is the voice of Erica Edwards. I am inviting you to come on out with your friends and family to a Merry Airy Christmas Concert 2.0. The event will be held at the Ramada Resort at 5 p.m. sharp, featuring Leap Dance Studio, the return of Catwalk coaching SKB, and 12 amazing youth singers backed by the Explosive Band and Roots Band. It's going to be a musical showcase like no other. Purchase your tickets at Latoya's Fashion on Keon Street and Cutesy Accessories on Church Street, Bastille. See you there.
You've played the online game. Now you can scratch, mark, and win with Express Cash, the new instant scratch game, and win up to $40,000. With 6 draws in each ticket, there's so many ways to win. Get your $5 Express Cash instant tickets from Caribbean Lottery agents island-wide. Caribbean Lottery.
St. Kitts and Nevis listens to Win FM 98.9. Win FM 98.9.
And we are back. It's 8:34. Island Tea continues. And maybe we should, I think we should take his call first. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. So you guys can chat in the meantime. Let me try and get him on the phone.
As I said, and as you said, we need the powers that be to come together, work together so that we can get a solution to this problem and just not say another one or we just say condolences to the families and we just move on.
Yeah. This person messaged me and said, "Good morning, Azard." They said the co-host is trying to say that the PM is not responsible for the actual shootings. That is basically the case for most governments. They don't pull the trigger, nor do they stab anyone. However, the government must uphold its promise and duty to fix the crime situation, especially the violent crime crisis of which we are all collective victims. They must be held accountable because they are failing to deliver on the promises which they made to the people on which they were elected. That's what that individual said.
Okay. But I get what they're saying, but as I'm saying, I'm not saying the Prime Minister shouldn't do his due diligence. I'm just saying that there must be someone under the Prime Minister to address the nation. We are not like the U.S., but you don't ever see President Biden. You don't ever see the representative for that state. You see the sheriff. You see some other person addressing the public as to the murder, as to the investigation. Some points are left out because they don't let you know everything that's going on, but at least somebody is informing. And as I said, the former Commissioner of Police, Mr. Walwyn, that's the only person in my younger years, when we had murders, I would see come on ZIZ and tell us what is happening, what measures they are taking. And we saw that he took some measures. I don't know how well it worked because I wasn't living here for a period of time, but somebody else has to do it. I'm not saying he doesn't come and say condones or whatever, but the appropriate bodies need to do what is necessary.
And the appropriate bodies, even when you talk about the sheriff, and when you're in the United States, and we talk about the police force, the police is the Royal Police Force of St. Kitts and Nevis, and of course, falls under the ministry when you talk about national security. And so at the end of the day, the police force is an arm of the government, and at the same time, so when we say government, we are talking about the government officials, the police officials as well, to speak out. And of course, the Prime Minister, why persons will be talking about the Prime Minister, 'cause at the end of the day, he holds the portfolio of Minister of National Security.
Understood.
And so we want to make sure, and we want to feel safe that something is being done, some proactive measures are being done to ensure that the people within the country are safe.
Yeah.
When you don't feel safe within the country and within your home, that is a serious situation. And I'm told we have the leader of the People's Action Movement on air. Hello?
Hello, good morning.
Good morning. Okay, while we work out that. And so I think that is the concern that many persons are having. And it should not be pushed down. It shouldn't, because it's a valid concern. If it is that things are happening in the community and you can't ask your government, the government of the country, to be accountable and to be and to lead on the issue, then why are they there? That is my question. Who else are you going to look to? I mean, of course, it is an all-inclusive approach, but at the end of the day, they have a mandate to the country in which they lead. Hello, good day. Good morning, yes. We are here talking about the present crime situation. We actually had a discussion, and it's good that you called. Is there anything, I know that the People's Action Movement, through you, placed a notice, a statement on its Facebook page and throughout the media. I also realized that the PLP, the leader of the PLP, Dr. Harris, made a statement as well, but we have you on the line. And so we are asking you, what is your view on the situation now?
Good morning to all the listeners of Win FM. On behalf of myself and the People's Action Movement, let me take this opportunity to extend condolences to the families and friends of the recent murder victims. Just yesterday, we would have recorded 2 homicides in the St. Peter's community. I am also aware of the fact that prior to yesterday, you would have had perhaps some 3 homicides within the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis during the month of November. It is the view of the People's Action Movement that we are at a crisis situation in the Federation. Having recorded 28 murders to date, and we're still in the month of November. We are not yet at the end of the year. That is an alarm. Within the last several years, indeed, we have not seen so many murders. The People's Action Movement was in government during the period 2015 to 2022. Would have been part of an administration which introduced a peace program. And under this particular program, one saw a decrease in the number of homicides in the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. Quite clearly, that program was working, as opposed to what we are seeing today. The methods, strategies being employed obviously are not working in terms of reducing the homicides in the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. It is my view that we need an innovative solution, a bold solution that will yield results. I am also of view that the solution needs to be crafted not just by the technocrats and those within government, but it needs an approach whereby all of the citizens of St. Kitts and Nevis are engaged to bring about that innovative solution. The People's Action Movement stands ready to work with the authorities in terms of crafting such a solution whereby we will definitely see not just a decrease, but one that is long-term, one whereby the citizens of St. Kitts and Nevis can feel more comfortable within their communities and within their homes. I do believe that each young man within the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis has something to contribute towards the development of the Federation. And we need to harness the skills of our young people. We need to lead our young people in a different direction and to show them that there are alternatives to crime and violence that they can turn to.
Okay, thank you so much.
You are most welcome.
Yes, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yes, so we had, we're going to, Kortensia, do you have the press release by the People's Action Movement? And then we could perhaps read the press release from the People's Labour Party. And I just want to thank Honorable Richards for those statements and those words at this point in time. Thank you, Honorable Sean Richards.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, have a good day.
Enjoy your day.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, so the press release was from yesterday, November the 22nd, 2023. And this is a statement from the People's Action Movement. And it says, on Wednesday, November the 1st, approximately 3 weeks ago, the Honorable Prime Minister, Dr. Terence Drew, was swift to inform the nation that the Minister of Tourism, the Honorable Marcia Henderson, was hospitalized, having undergone emergency surgery the previous evening. He indicated that her health and well-being are important to all of us as a nation and implored us to keep her in our thoughts and prayers. The very same day, the nation recorded its 24th homicide as a young man, 24-year-old Japhet Liebert, succumbed to a stabbing wound. The Prime Minister and Minister of National Security, the Honorable Terence Drew, has to date not found the loss of life sufficiently important to utter a word to the nation or to ask for one iota of prayer for the family or friends of the victim. Exactly 1 week ago, on Wednesday, November the 15th, an 18-year-old Malik Hughes of McKnight was gunned down in the prime of his life on the Frigate Bay Road. Again, our Prime Minister and Minister of National Security, the Honorable Dr. Terence Drew, has remained mute. Perhaps in the mind of Dr. Drew, this young man was of no importance to the nation or anyone. 5 days ago, November the 18th, a third murder for the month took place just outside of the constituency office of Dr. Drew and within his constituency when 23-year-old Wilbert D. Pemberton was gunned down in broad daylight. If one didn't know better, he or she would think that Dr. Drew is dumb, as he has uttered not a single word of comfort, caution, or dismay to the Federation. Today, exactly 3 weeks later, since Dr. Drew announced that Tourism Minister Henderson is important to all of us, families mourn as a double murder takes place in the constituency of the Honorable Prime Minister, and again he remains mute. One can only surmise that the lives of these young men are also of no importance to our Minister of National Security, their family and friends, or the nation. It is that one has to be a Minister of Government for Dr. Drew to crave the nation's prayers, thoughts, and attention. Unfortunately, neither of the two young men today nor the other three this month were ministers of government, or were a minister of government. It is that the Honorable Prime Minister has no regard or empathy for the families and lives of our young men whose lifeless bodies lay in our streets. Did he solicit the vote of any of the individuals in his bid for office? And were they important then? Is it blatantly apparent that Dr. Drew is clueless and does not care? 5 young men were brutally murdered in 3 weeks, and there is no sense of care or alarm from Dr. Drew or the our Minister of National Security. The security of our nation and its citizens should be the number one priority of any government, and indeed, Dr. Drew, as Minister of National Security, his complete lack of empathy and actions to date as the murders steadfastly increase, which now stand at 28 for the year, must not be condoned by the citizens of this federation. He met a peace program in place which, despite all criticisms, drastically reduced our homicides. He swiftly brought it to an end merely for political expediency, and now we are all reaping the effects as our young men are being constantly murdered. There have been 5 murders thus far for November, a total of 28 to date for the year, and 2023 is yet to climax. So, to close out, it says the The PAM calls upon Dr. Drew to immediately resign and allow someone with compassion for all our people, not just ministers of government, to take the reins of national security. We also extend our thoughts and prayers to the families and friends of all of the victims. We urge our citizens to show compassion for each other and to put down the guns and put away violence. Every life is important. But Azard, as kids, we were only rewarded when we did good, right? When we did bad, we got timeout, we got lashes, we got something taken away from us. That's just my 2 cents on that part.
I will now read the press release from the People's Labour Party, statement by Dr. the Honorable Timothy Harris, leader of the People's Labour Party, PLP, in light of the upsurge in murders in St. Kitts and Nevis. The double murder incident in St. Peter's, St. Kitts today has shaken up the community and left many of our nation afraid and in despair. Our nationals at home and abroad are in shock at the rising surge of murders in the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. I share the horror, pain, and despair of families who have lost loved ones, and I extend sincere sympathies to all, and especially to the families of the 2 murder victims. The loss of one life is one too many. To have lost so many young people so consistently in the prime of their lives should cause all of us to examine ourselves, our government and country, and commit to doing all we can to contain these egregious acts of human destruction in our midst. We must question too whether this government is doing enough to address the crime crisis in the country. Clearly, the protracted and deafening silence of the Prime Minister, Dr. Terence Drew, has been a major source of concern for our citizens and residents. This situation cannot continue. The most fundamental duty of the government is to keep its people safe and secure. During my tenure, we made safety and security the priority. In this regard, we raised the budgetary support to the Ministry of National Security to close to 100 million, expanded the CCTV program throughout St. Kitts and Nevis, and introduced innovations like the Alternative Lifestyle Program, better known as the Peace Program, and the Explorer Club, all which led to a more significant reduction in murders in St. Kitts and Nevis. St. Kitts and Nevis, in 15 months of the present administration, is now again the murder capital of the world. It is an inevitable form of notoriety for any country. The notoriety for any country. For the people of St. Kitts and Nevis, this is an international embarrassment. The total number of murders for this year alone is 28 in a population less than 50,000. This is not what I wish for my beloved country. He goes on to say, our people should not have to go back to a state of crippling fear, insecurity, worry, and anxiety over the level of criminality with which we are forced to live. I call upon Dr. Terence Drew and his administration to immediately address the crime situation in the country by doing the following with urgency: to articulate a clear crime reduction policy going forward, to recommit the Peace Program and the Explorers Club program, to find competent persons to lead the various areas in the police force, to end victimization in the security forces, to provide resources to deal with low morale in the police force, and to operational needs, to stop stifling public discussion on matters of national security, and to produce a more coherent action plan to enhance security and safety, not just for his cabinet colleagues, but for every citizen and resident. This Jew administration has fallen short of its fundamental duty to keep our nation and people safe. Today's, which he meant yesterday, because it was published yesterday, double murder tragedy is a wake-up call. I therefore call on the St. Kitts Nevis Chamber of Industry and Commerce, the Bar Association, the church community, and other civil society organizations to continue to join me in this urgent call for government to implement these substantive measures that will return our country to a state of peace and security. Let us extend sympathies to the grieving families and pray for an end to this upsurge in violent criminality in our land. Dr. the Honorable Timothy Harris, People's Labour Party Secretariat, November 22nd, 2023. And just like this press release, I read this press release for the first time now, and this is the same thing I was saying just when we started, that the government ought to take a proactive approach to address and arrest the situation. The government has the resources. The government has the ministries, the Ministry of Social Development, the Ministry of Health, the Ministry of National Security, the Ministry of Education. All the ministries are at their disposals. They can create ministries as well. And so if they have the resources, we are saying, come up with a plan of action, lead on this, bring together persons. You could hire persons if the skill is not in St. Kitts and Nevis that is necessary to address this problem. You could hire persons from the international arena. I mean, they travel often. They could meet persons out there. They could speak on what is happening here in St. Kitts and Nevis and bring in persons to address and arrest the situation that we have. But to say nothing, to appear as though they are silent on issues of national concern is not one that I think a reasonable citizen is expecting of its government.
I understand. I share the sentiments with you, but as I said, the official responsible for that need to do that, and the parties that wield the power need to ensure that that is done. Because every time a young man is gone down, or a young woman, because we had one in the mix this year, nobody says anything.
Yes.
All right. Caller, good morning. You're live on Island T. Okay, we lost that caller.
Here we go. On to the next. Caller, go right ahead. Island T.
Yes, good morning. Good morning to you guys, man. How are you guys doing?
Sure.
Good morning. We're good, thanks.
Undoubtedly, crime affects everybody. And for me, I'm disappointed to hear that there was a double murder there yesterday. And, you know, it's a lot of work to be done, man. And who's going to put in the work? We don't know who's going to put the work in, but somebody says it's going to take around 10 years. So in the previous administrations, when this has already became a problem, you know, persons should have been already done started doing the work already. You know what I mean? We got to get down to the kids. We got to get down to the kids. We got to get into schools. You know, we need these programs, man. We need persons to be role models, and you know, we need mentorship programs and stuff like that. But undoubtedly, man, I want to really agree with Azard today. You know what I'm saying? I don't believe in giving the Prime Minister a pass. That is his portfolio. Just like how we've been attacking the agriculture minister for agriculture. Yo, I mean, the Prime Minister can't get a pass. That's his portfolio. He got to make sure his portfolio is running good. You know what I mean? I mean, I'm not gonna put all the responsibilities on him. Like per se, when there's a murder, you know, he got to be the only one jumping out to talk at it.
Okay, caller.
The other persons.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
Go?
We have another call, but just wrap up your thought.
Yeah. Okay. Real quickly. The other persons like got that the PSs that's under the Prime Minister, they got to step up as well. It's an all on hands on deck approach. Yeah. But at the end of the day, the Prime Minister, he going to be held responsible for that portfolio, believe it or not. But I wish you guys the best going forward, man. And I just want to agree with Azard's narrative, and also those two releases was right on point. I like those two releases that came from PLP and PAM. And thanks a lot, man. You guys have a good day.
You too.
Okay, on to the next caller. Go right ahead.
Yeah, good morning, guys.
Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning. I am listening, right? And I'm going to agree with Mr. Gumbs with his analogy, or partly some of his analogies of the government should use their resources. But then when we say put policy in place, what are the policies, Mr. Gumbs? What are the policies you think the government should put in place? Because policy is a word. If you would agree with me, it's a word. And just before you answer, yesterday I was looking at the live where they had the double homicide. And when you look at the crowd, I mean, over all the commotions and everything that was going on, you could have heard explicit, you could have heard people abusing the police officers. I mean, so when the government put things in place and the police officers go out and they've been accosted like that to perform their duty, I mean, let us call it a wholesome, something to achieve wholesomely together, rather than, yes, like I said, the government, but we all have our part to play. And I want you to expound on the society on a whole. All right? Thank you.
Thank you for your contribution, caller. Do we have any more calls? Okay. Well, in terms of policies, I did say that we have to first look at the problems, what are the root causes. We look at it and we see that it's within the homes, we see that it's within the school, we see that it's within the community.
Let's squeeze in one more.
Oh, we
8:59.
okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Caller, go right ahead. Be brief. We have a segment at 9. Go ahead.
Amster.
Hey.
Hello, good morning, Auntie. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, morning. First, I want to thank God for life. Thank God for the Federation of St. Kitts Nevis. Now, we have a good, blessed country. But a few people want to mess it up. And too much of politics in our country. We need to come together. I'm said to be truthful, right? I believe that the root cause of this problem with these young men, it's easy to solve. It's easy to solve, Jamster. Let me tell you something.
Okay.
These young
Politics.
men know who the target be.
Politics is 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
How about you call back afterwards?
Yeah, 9:30. We could continue the discussion.
Okay,
9:30.
Okay, great.
We have a guest. We have Hobson's Enterprise,
Yes.
which will be speaking about, shipping. Christmas is coming up, and everyone wants to know how to get their stuff from the various countries abroad to St. Kitts and Nevis. So we're going to have that discussion.
Found the sound 98.9.
Dreaming of that perfect getaway? Hop aboard the Michelina ferry to the breathtaking islands of Saba, Statia, St. Martin, and St. Kitts. Embark on a delightful journey and enjoy sun-kissed beaches, vibrant cultures, and unforgettable experiences. Visit MichelinaFerryService.com to book your island-hopping adventure today.
Unbox big Black Friday savings with up to 40% off at Pandora Jewelry. Treat yourself to some sparkle or get started on your gift list. Shop November 18th through 28th and save up to 40% on jewelry for the holidays. Only at Pandora Jewelry. Offer valid only at participating Pandora retailers. Exclusions apply. See store for details.
Noble Jewelers, located at Port Zante. Call us at 466-2849.
On November 25th, join us for the second annual Sugar Mass Awards. The pre-show kicks off at 7:30 p.m., building anticipation for a night of celebration. At 8 p.m., the main event begins live on the Eske and Carnival Facebook page. Tune in for an evening of recognition and honor as we celebrate those who've contributed meritoriously to Eske and National Carnival. Don't miss the chance to be a part of this prestigious event as we acknowledge the heartbeat of Sugar Mass.
Who you fighting?
It's 9:02, and we've got Hobson's Enterprises on deck. They're the agents for Crowley and so on. No, you're not? Aristide. Okay, sorry. I didn't realize.
So we have in studio with us Damian Hobson, and we have another gentleman, and when he enters the studio, this specific room, we're going to have him introduce himself again. So Damian, tell us, we're talking about shipping. It's almost December, it's November. What is in store? How can we get our goods from abroad here in St. Kitts and Nevis?
Hey, morning, Azard, and morning to you, ILNT guests. My name is Damian Hobson. I'm here along with Chris Hensley from Hobson Enterprises. It's Christmas, as you just said, and this is the time of the year when most people import a lot of personal effects. And of course, the government again this year gave the duty-free concessions on barrels. I think it's up to $250 this year. And so we're here to talk about how do you get your stuff to St. Kitts. What's the easiest, most convenient? We've heard about all the problems at the port, the delays, the time it takes. I mean, sometimes Christmas they don't even have your stuff as yet. And so we're providing and offering a solution to our customers. Really a one-stop shop. You ship stuff to our Miami warehouse address. They ship every week. We get it on a Monday. We clear it on a Tuesday. We work it off-site at our own private warehouse facility, which means within 48 hours of arrival, you can have your cargo. Once we give you the bill, you can pay online, and then you can just come and pick it up, or we can just bring it home to you. So it's really an all-inclusive service, and so that is what we want to talk about today.
Oh, awesome. So for persons who might not know about the service or to get the service to them, you guys have online platforms, correct?
Correct. So we at hobsenterprises.com, and there you can get our information for our Miami warehouse address. So we take anything from as big as a car to as small as a gold chain. Anything that you want, ordering from Amazon, Walmart, Sam's Club, whatever you're ordering, you put in the address, and you can get that on our Facebook page, but it's usually your name, -SKB, and then the address, which is in Miami, Florida. Cutoff is on Tuesday midday. Cargo sails out on Thursday, arrives on a Monday. We clear the containers on Tuesday. You have your cargo Tuesday afternoon, Wednesday morning latest.
So once you get it into, so let's say I'm looking at semantics. I order my thing on, let's say, Sunday, reaches it to your box on Monday. By Tuesday, it's expected to leave.
That is correct.
And then I get my goods. Once it goes in on through Tuesday, the following Tuesday,
Wednesday.
Correct.
Sometimes the boat may be a little late, but usually the boat is in Monday nights. We get our containers Tuesday morning, but Tuesday afternoon you have your stuff available.
Okay, awesome. And so, what about the cost? Because that's another factor too. Cost. How does that? What am I expected to pay, and how?
Well, of course, in terms of the duty concessions, the government has already announced the duty-free concessions. So as long as your items, you get the concession at $675 EC. So there'll be no duty and taxes on that. In terms of shipping, we have our minimum rates, and Chris can get into the minimum rates. I'm not sure what they are, but Chris has them. But the cubic measurements are around $4.50 a cubic foot. So if it's anything beyond the minimum, like a TV or furniture, by the cubic measurement, and $4.50 a cubic foot. It comes here. The duty, based on what the value is, will let you know what customs is charged, and it's all inclusive.
And so basically most of the items that you would encourage persons to ship are those large items.
Anything.
No,
I would say anything.
He said down to gold chain.
Yes, he did say down to gold chains.
We want you to think of us as your one-stop shop for shipping, whether it's big or small, we take care of your needs.
Yeah, and it seems like a pretty quick service too, because once you could get it in on that Tuesday,
Correct.
in the box, and that the warehouse, they guys leave, and then you get it by the following week.
Correct.
But I should also, just to clarify, you guys just do ocean.
No, we also have the option to do air.
Okay, but what I wanted to say, I realize your ocean service is pretty fast, because I find that to be pretty fast for, I mean, if you don't need something the next day, if you're waiting to me a few days, it's still pretty impressive for
But
ocean.
Johnson, just to add, I mean, the air cargo service is a weekly service as well. So we're the same weekly service. It's
Exactly.
It's cheaper, it's more efficient.
Exactly.
And we turn around much quicker for you to get your cargo to customs.
Okay.
I was just wondering, because I know we have trouble with shipping right now. Do you think we'll run into anything?
Well, the only delays are really shipping lines. Every now and again, there's a delay for weather. I mean, it's Thanksgiving week, so I know the boats are going to be a little late this week for next week. But on average, the vessels are in on Tuesday, latest Tuesday. And once they're in on Tuesday, within 24 hours, we have your cargo available. And then what we normally do is that we'll call you. We say your freight is $10, your duty is $1.50. You can go online, you can pay your $11.50 and bring your receipt, and let's go with your cargo. Because customer would have already checked it. It's just a matter of going with your cargo.
Okay. Is there a way to track it whilst we wait on it?
Yes, you can track it, but to track, you'll have to contact our offices. You can call us at 465-8753 or send a request to teamskb@hobsonenterprises.com.
Okay, one of the things I want you guys to do now is think about the people probably listening overseas who want to know where to go to get your contact information, where they're going to send this stuff. Tell us what they do. And of course, that would apply to people here as well.
Okay, for people in the Miami area, our office is RSD International. The address is 7500 Northwest 81st Place, Suite number 2, Medley, Florida, 33166.
Is there a website they can go to? Because, obviously, if somebody heard all of that.
You can get it on our website.
Exactly, right.
HobsonEnterprises.com would have it. And, of course, we pick up anywhere in the United States. So don't think of us as just a Miami operation.
Okay.
You have stuff in California, in Minnesota, whatever. Once we have the zip code, we can get a quotation to pick it up and bring it to Miami as well. So you're not limited to Florida or even Miami.
So any of the 52 states?
Any.
Okay.
Right. As a matter of fact, we have extended the services beyond the United States. So we actually offer LCL services from anywhere in the world. So from Asia. So as long as we have your contact point in China, who the supplier, the address, we can provide you with a quotation within 48 hours. It goes to Miami in bond. We then pack it in our weekly container and it comes down to Sankey. So don't limit yourself to.
And here am I just thinking that is limited to the US,
No,
but it's actually a worldwide service.
That is correct. So we're actually doing a lot of LCL from Asia right now for a number of customers who just can't afford a full container but want a pallet of this, a pallet of that. We route it through Miami, which is actually quicker than coming straight to Sankey's actually, and get it done for you as well.
So this is a good option for maybe business people who maybe want to order things from China, for example.
Correct, and can't afford a full container.
Exactly.
Correct. We can actually offer you quotations, Indonesia, China, India, anywhere in the world that you. Once we have the address, the supplier's information, we can provide your quote within 48 hours.
Okay.
I think that's significant because oftentimes, even if I'm thinking maybe like building supplies or those sort of things, you might want something might catch your eye that's not in the US, that's over in China or even Taiwan or even let's say Thailand or something, I'm thinking about all these countries that we don't normally think of on a daily basis. At least there is the opportunity for something to come here, St. Nevis. That's
correct.
Good.
So you're not limited at all.
Okay, it's 11 minutes after 9 o'clock. We're with Hobson Enterprises if you're just joining us on the radio. Next question. Let's try and get relatable now. 1, tell us what a barrel costs, and 2, tell us what happens if someone wants to ship a vehicle, and some people are very finicky. Like, say, I want my vehicle in a trailer, blah blah blah. Can I put in maybe 4 spare tires? How does that work? You know, stuff like that.
Okay, the cost of a barrel is $90. The thing with the barrel is that someone will have to be in Miami to pack that barrel for you. We don't do packaging.
Okay. So you just you'd have to deliver it.
You have to deliver
already
that barrel
done.
to the warehouse, already packaged, and ship it over to St. Kitts.
Okay.
But if I could back up a little bit, when you touch on the business places, we also offer frozen LCL services. So like for the business places that can't afford to bring in a full container of frozen stuff, you can get a pallet of frozen stuff come down as well.
Oh, that's interesting. I didn't realize that
Correct.
you
we
could have
we have a
less.
specific schedule for that.
Oh, okay.
So you just have to call to find out when our next LCL. It's only by a pallet though, so you can't just bring. Well, you could bring one box, but you're gonna pay a pallet rate. So it's by pallets, just frozen, not fresh, just frozen.
Okay, that's interesting. I didn't realize you could do LCS for frozen stuff.
Yeah.
That's very interesting. So, folks, so you're listening, Hops Enterprises, RST, and their shipping service. Give us a listen. And the website again,
Enterprises.com.
HobsonEnterprises.com. You were saying thing. Continue.
Yes. So in terms, you mentioned about the vehicles. So if you want to purchase a vehicle from in the Miami area, all you do is send us you get a quotation, you send us the dimensions of your vehicle, and we can give you that quotation. The vehicles are delivered to the port. Those vehicles must be in port 72 hours before the sailing on a Thursday, because those vehicles have to go through custom validation to make sure they are not stolen and everything. So it's going to need the bill of sale or invoice from the supplier and the copy of the titles. So the vehicle leave on Thursday into St. Kitts on a Monday. You get your vehicle cleared by the Tuesday.
Okay. I know sometimes I know there are hazardous materials that some people don't think of as hazardous materials. I had a story where I bought cologne, and they told me it was hazardous material. The manager had to go up and bring it down for me. So, in terms of people ordering things that might be classified hazardous materials by U.S. Customs, how would they deal with that?
Yes, we also ship hazardous stuff, and I think a lot of customers are running into that problem you mentioned about shipping perfumes and what's not. Especially a lot of stuff that you order from Amazon, they might just have in a small battery that they will just place a hazardous label on that box, and the shipping lines would consider those as hazardous. So the charge for the hazardous is $125. So as you say, it might be, we can ship it, but
extra cost.
It's going to be at an extra cost.
Yeah. I just thought I would ask because I know sometimes people might not think of certain things as hazardous materials, and then they feel inconvenienced when the thing gets shipped to you, and then they're like, oh my God, so I have to wait another week because so and so.
Because certain hazardous goods cannot go together.
Exactly. You want to give some more info on different packages other than barrels that people might want to have delivered?
Well, right now it's Thanksgiving, we only see a lot of people ordering TVs. I don't know, every December, I guess the TVs probably last
Black Friday.
Yes, Black Friday sale. So we have a lot of TVs coming through. Of course, we ship TVs. We offer insurance, so we encourage all our customers to take insurance, especially on televisions, because, they're so fragile. We have a lot of customers shipping beds, furniture, because you want to refurnish your house for the season. So as we say, is anything we can ship.
Okay. When this stuff gets here, do you guys deliver? Is there an extra charge to delivery? Is it free?
There's an extra charge for delivery depending on where you live and what we have to do. If you have to go upstairs, downstairs, just straight in the door, the different charges based on what the commodity is and where we have to go. But yes,
that's fair.
We do offer that. So.
Let me ask a question. This is a fun question. Interesting. What's the most popular thing that is ordered during this time?
This time of the year?
Food.
TV.
One is saying food, the other is saying two different things.
Something that Hobson Enterprise would not deliver because of the weight?
No, as long as they ship it, we can deliver it.
Oh, wow. So you guys have some hulks over there.
Yeah. We have equipment. We have a forklift.
Oh,
So it depends on what we have to do.
The only thing we don't ship is guns and ammunition.
No.
Yes.
No, we don't need any more.
We don't ship that.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. So
Even if they're legal? What about those?
We don't ship them.
Okay. Okay.
You were saying something?
No, I'm saying, especially at this time of the year, this is information. We think that when we order on Amazon and Amazon says it's delivered today, it means it's going to ship today. That doesn't happen. Because a lot of times we find, especially people like Walmart, when you look at the pictures of deliveries, it's outside by the tree, it's outside on the windshield. We haven't even gotten the packages, but you got your notification that it was delivered. And so we have to get that box, we have to process it. So that usually takes 48 hours. So don't wait until Monday to order and say, oh, it was delivered on Tuesday, why didn't it ship? It's going to take 40 hours to be processed. So don't wait for last minute. The year's nearly ended. You got to go online this weekend and shop up and so we can get your stuff here in time for Christmas.
And also, especially like how Damien just mentioned, Walmart, and I want to encourage customers, especially over this weekend for the Black Friday sales, when you go to select your shipping method, do not choose delivery. Because delivery is something like a store delivery to a residence in the US. So you have to choose shipping. So by that way, it's actually shipped to the warehouse. Because like for example, the warehouse is closed today, Thursday and Friday. So if you go and order this evening and you choose delivery, they're going to go out and deliver it this evening and they're going to leave it there.
Leave it by the door.
They'll leave it at the door, even though the place is closed.
So they're to click shipping and not delivery.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Well, related question. Like on a normal week, would RDS accept stuff on, say, Saturday and Sunday, or just Monday to Friday?
Monday to Friday.
Okay.
It's open Monday to Friday, 8 to 4:30.
Okay.
Correct.
Okay.
And
So
we do, as I said, we do pickups in Miami, pickups within the United States. So we can actually pick it up for you as well.
in terms of, let's say you got something delivered from, say, Tennessee, the shipping from, say, Tennessee to Miami, that shipping would be, the person would have to deal with that, right? Or you guys can do that?
But it depends. If you ask us to pick it up in Tennessee, we'll give you a quotation to pick it up in Tennessee. We'll bring it down to Miami and put all that on your bill of lading in terms of your overall freight cost. Or maybe the supplier just delivers it to our Miami address and that's on your invoice.
Okay, sounds good. Okay, folks, Hobson Enterprises, don't forget it's hobsonenterprises.com. I have it right? So
Yes.
if you guys are looking for rates and you're looking for the address that you would be shipping the stuff to, go to hobsonenterprises.com. That's HOBSON. Everybody knows how to spell enterprises. I'm not spelling that.
Enterprises with an S.
With an S. Yeah, that's what it's.
Enterprises with an S.
Any incentives for shipping with Hobson Enterprises for the season?
Good service, timely service, you get your packages on time. You've heard all the horror stories having to wait for your packages. We're air conditioned as well, so you'll be in comfort when you're getting your packages. So it's all about the service and the experience that we offer to you at Hobson Enterprises.
Okay.
Awesome. There's someone on our Facebook page asking about barrel pickup in NYC.
No, we don't offer that service for barrels pickup. And also, I must mention about personal packages. Our pickup service within the US is mainly for commercial. Because when it comes to personal packages, there's certain liabilities involved, so they won't go inside somebody's residence. So they only pick up from a commercial area.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, that makes sense.
And one more thing, in terms of, because especially now, there's a lot of packages that's going to be moving from now to the end of the year. Most of these companies tend to use USPS, which is the post office. What happens is that because the post office have so many packages, your package might show delivered to our warehouse today. But truth and in fact, it was just delivered to the closest post office. So after they get X amount of packages, then they make a bulk delivery to our warehouse.
Okay.
So there's a delay in terms of receiving packages that will ship via USPS.
Right. So the shipping is very important because a lot of people wait till last minute and pay for overnight shipping, but overnight is not overnight, especially at this time of the year. It takes at least 3 days for overnight shipping to actually get received into our warehouse.
Okay, Damien, I don't know if you guys want to take a couple calls. Yeah, I have
Sure.
just 2 calls. Caller, go right ahead. You're on the air for Hobson Enterprises and RDS Shipping Services. Go right ahead. RSD, sorry. Caller, go right ahead. Hello? Okay, I don't know. Maybe that person's having trouble hearing me or something. Okay, let me ask another question in the meantime. In terms of the frozen LCS stuff, less than container stuff, for the people out there listening who don't know what that means, it means that, for example, you can actually bring a frozen shipment that doesn't fill a container, and they can actually take care of that. In terms of that, and let's say the person might obviously you guys would have storage. Let's say the person might want to, okay, I'm going to come for it in 3 days or 2 days. Is that
for dry or frozen? For frozen?
Frozen, yeah.
Yes, we can hold it for a couple of days. We don't like to, and
Okay.
so we'll actually come for it right away.
But is there extra charge?
There is an extra charge.
Okay,
There's electricity charge, and that's high right now. So we want you to come for it right away. So when we are working it, we let you know we're working tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock. You come for your cargo at 10 o'clock.
Okay. Just let them know up front,
Correct.
You know.
So for the frozen, again, you have to call and get the schedule because it's not weekly. It's usually twice per month.
Okay.
And it could be the week depends on what our major customer wants to do. So we piggyback off of that. So you have to call the office and find out what we're doing for a particular week.
So you can give the number after the call. Caller, go right ahead.
Hello?
Hey, go right ahead.
I'm calling because I want Mr. Hobson to explain a little more about loss and damages. Please ask him that question to explain loss and damages.
Loss and damages,
Thank you.
we're in St. Kitts.
Caller.
So for us in Miami, everything we get, we take a picture of. So we know what we're getting. As long as it's in a box, we can see the condition. We don't open the boxes necessarily, but we can see what's on the outside of the box. We actually take insurance. As long as you take insurance and something is damaged in the box upon opening and inspection by customs, we then reimburse you based on the insurance value of the cargo.
Okay, it's 9:24. HobsonEnterprises.com. You can go to the website. You get the addresses, rates. I think you guys should use this time now to recap some of the key things that you want your potential customers to be aware of, and a lot of the stuff you guys said before was very insightful. So I guess you'll know what you need to repeat so that people get it.
Repeat everything. So just reminding you, it's Christmas. It's Thanksgiving weekend. It's Christmas. Everybody's shopping. We ask you to try our services of Hobson Enterprises and RSD. It's a Miami warehouse. We take any item from as big as a car down to a gold chain. Chris would have mentioned the address. It's 7500 Northwest 81st Place, Medley, Florida 33166. You can get our information on our website at hobsonenterprises.com or call 465-8753. It's a fantastic service. It's a weekly service from Miami. We do all our off-site warehousing, so containers that arrive on Tuesday, your cargo is available on Wednesday morning. It's convenient, it's efficient. We deliver your stuff home to you if you need to. You can pay by credit card, and we just deliver to you. You don't even have to come to the office for any reason at all. So that's what we're talking about today.
Sounds good. 9:25. If anyone wants to call and put some questions to Hobson Enterprises and RD Shipping Services.
RSD.
RSD. What did I say? I said
RD.
Keep missing the S.
Put the S in there, Jams.
I know.
Did he get his tea this morning?
Not yet. I find Jams is delinquent when it comes to getting his tea early. It's there early, but he
you all
never
drank
gets
it off
early.
yesterday anyway. So.
Actually, we didn't,
He did. He came over here and he didn't have his tea.
I know.
Yeah, I forgot. Afterwards, I
Yeah.
realized.
Mhm.
Okay, so folks, everyone listening, HobsonEnterprises.com. You can go there and find out the rates and also the address that stuff will be shipped to. Let's recap the barrel thing. That's always something that that's a touchstone. I think most people can relate to.
Okay, the barrel. No, most people are shipping the containers as compared to barrel, because the container is basically 4 barrel worth of stuff.
Okay.
So that the container as well is what you have to go to the warehouse and package yourself, or have somebody in the US does it.
So once again, to reiterate that, if you're gonna ship that, you're gonna have to make sure it's packaged and you just deliver it, and then you guys.
No, you
take
say
it
go
from
to the
there.
warehouse.
Yes.
You go to the warehouse and pack
So
it.
for the containers, you go to our warehouse as we address. It's RSD International, 7500 Northwest 81st Place, Medley, Florida 33166. The cost for the containers is $189.
It's a flat rate.
It's a flat rate.
Okay, 927.
Does the rate change? You said that's a
No,
flat
it's a
rate.
flat rate.
Yeah,
Oh,
it
okay.
covers everything.
Oh,
Right?
okay.
That's a
Okay.
cubic
The
measurement.
containers
Okay.
are special
All right.
rated.
Cool.
Okay. Okay, so 927. You guys have the last word. You do whatever you want with 3 minutes.
One of the things we didn't give is our phone number, 465-8753.
Yes, you just did.
You
Yeah.
have the website, but our phone number, 465-8753. You can call for any further information that you would need, or you can go on our website and send us an email. There's a link to send out any email for any quotations that you may need. Come out and try our services. We think you'll be impressed, and you'll continue to come back.
No, I like that. Anything else you gentlemen want to add? No?
No.
Well, we want to thank both of you for coming in, and this is your first time with
On
us here on
Island
Island T.
Correct.
But we hope that it's not your last.
Exactly.
We encourage you to come back and speak about, whatever is happening with Hobson's Enterprise. This is the place. We have the tea, and we might have
Yes.
more additions shortly.
Yes,
Ooh.
some told.
just for people who don't know, if you wanted to add anything about UPS, any UPS notices, you're still to the UPS,
Yeah,
right?
no.
Okay, people are good. Okay.
Yeah, people are good.
They're very good. As he said,
All right.
he ships from a car to a gold chain. So
There you go.
I hope everyone takes the opportunity of that.
And a lot of persons are building and stuff like that.
Correct.
And with this housing revolution that
you?
is supposed to be coming on, hopefully soon, there are going to be a need for these
Lots of
things.
inputs,
Yes.
correct.
Well, you got your service.
Yeah, right there,
here.
Hobson's Enterprise.
Okay.
Yes.
In case you guys are wondering, Hobson Enterprise is located on the Bird Rock, the Bird Rock
The
Road.
blue building and the Bird Rock Road.
Yes,
Can't
there you
miss it.
go. Okay. 928. Wish you guys all the best for the season. It's
Thank you, Jefferson.
and Thanksgiving. I don't know if you guys celebrate Thanksgiving.
Oh,
but
yeah, happy Thanksgiving.
You certainly be glad for the business.
Yes.
Yes, and so there we had our interview with Hobson's Enterprise. As we return on the 9:30, we're going to continue the discussion with the crime situation here in St. Kitts and Nevis. Stay tuned.
WINN is 98.9. 98.9 is Win FM.
Hey kids, drink healthy!
Reduce sugar chubby with the same great taste. Lots of magic fruity flavors, drink the more healthy way.
It tastes so yummy, chubby, chubby.
25% less sugar chubby. Be active, be healthy, drink lots of chubby. Kicking football, playing cricket, having fun in the sun.
It's chubby.
Reduced sugar chubby keeps you cool and refreshed.
It tastes so yummy, chubby, chubby.
25% less sugar chubby. Jumping rope, running races, have fun.
It tastes so yummy, chubby.
Drink the more healthy way!
Rams the good food people, always there to serve you. Rams the good food people, locations right near you. Rams the good food people, in-store specials for you. Rams the good food people. Rams. When you need better service, Rams is always here. Better value, better prices. Rams is always here. You want your loyalty. Rams is always here. We are community. We are family. We are family. Rams for you and me. We are community. Rams for you and me.
Christmas is coming, every child is hoping. Dear old Santa will come calling. Ho, 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 Promise from mama, promise from papa, that come Christmas, there'll be many gifts from Santa. Oh, 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 oh. How will Santa get here? There is no reindeer in my country. He'll have to borrow me neighbor donkey. Oh, 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 oh. How will Santa get here? Oh, 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 oh. How will Santa get here? The yard has no snow, the house has no chimney. So how will Santa really get to me? Oh, 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 oh. How will Santa get here? If his house is so far, far from Antigua, how he's going to get across all that water? Oh, 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 oh.
How will Santa...
So we are back, and I want to address something. I saw it on the Facebook page, and it's a comment. You know, we look at the comments, and I always want to be as fair as possible because we have someone who commented, Glenda Nisbet, or using the name of Glenda Nisbet, and it says the host of the show, Azard Gumbs, is chairman of the People's Action Movement and will be a candidate for PAM in constituency 4 in the next election. So reading political press release and not playing anything from the police commissioner is clearly his political agenda. So I don't want that to be said because I actually had not seen at the point in time when I read those press release anything from the police. And so I do apologize. My aim is not to make this political. So I have since then, during the break, searched for the press release by the Commissioner of Police, and I have found it. And I want to read it and share it because that is not my intention at all. And it says, Police Commissioner calls for unified crime fighting approach, November 22nd, 2023. It's by Yolanda Weeks. And he says, the matter of crime and violence, particularly homicides, continues to raise its ugly head in the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. At the police press conference on November 21, Commissioner James Sutton addressed recent tragedies that claimed the lives of 2 additional young men, which occurred in just 2 days of each other. And this is a quote. He says, I stand before you as the Commissioner of Police with a heavy heart, addressing the different tragedies that have befallen our communities, 2 shooting homicides that have left us all deeply saddened. Our first and foremost priority is to express heartfelt condolences to the families and friends of the victims. These senseless acts of violence have left an indelible mark on our communities, and we share in the collective grief that have befallen us. Our dedicated law enforcement teams are working tirelessly to bring those responsible to justice. The article goes on to say statistics have shown that as of November 18, 2023, 26 murders were recorded in the Federation, of which the majority were executed by firearms. No longer should there be any finger pointing and police-only efforts in crime fighting, said Commissioner Sutton, but the community ought to do its part. Crime fighting should not just be the responsibility of the police, it is a responsibility for all of us. We have our part to play. The time for finger pointing has passed. We continue to see many of our young people losing their lives senselessly from the gun violence. St. Kitts and Nevis is not a place that is going through, is not the place that is, I think this is supposed to say St. Kitts and Nevis is not the only place that is going through this problem. And he says transnational organized crime is affecting the entire region. A lot of our young people continue to gravitate towards guns for whatever reason. It goes on to say, crimes, violent crimes especially, are affecting each and every one of us. You may not see it now, but tomorrow or the day after, we are going to suffer because we will not have a future like the future would like we would like to have. Crime has no boundaries. Let us come together and work together. We all know what the problem is. If each and every one of us fix one problem, we have, instead of finger pointing, St. Kitts and Nevis will be a better place.
Okay.
That was the end, and that was a quote from him.
Okay, want to take a call?
Sure.
Island T, go right ahead.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I think we have talked about the necessity for not just our Prime Minister, but the other leaders in the power centers and in our communities to come together, come forward and address even, in fact, any murder that occurs. Otherwise, we risk normalizing the situation. Okay? So far, it appears that the response is generally to just hang tough, or you have ostrich-like behavior of burying your head in the sand, hoping that the problem will subside and go away. Well, clearly, that is not happening. The prime purpose of any government and the leaders is to make sure that our citizens are secure. All right? So they cannot run away, I think, from that responsibility. Right? I would like to suggest just a few things that should be done. First, any problem that, if it is any problem, I think, that requires a best practice and consensus and a non-partisan approach, the all-of-society approach, is this crime problem. And so it is essential that not just the government, but the opposition should appear on the same page. And not just on the same page in private, but publicly, right? That requires a high visibility appearance where you can see normally hostile and divisive leaders appearing on the same platform, and so that, I think, would send a message to the warring factions that they can, in fact, make peace.
Mm-hmm. Well, we have seen already statements by the political leaders of the various parties, and just before you call in, before you call in, let me finish, Mr.
Okay.
McMahon, please. Before you call in, you heard, if you did, the Honorable Sean Richards said that he welcomed anything and he's willing to work and be a part of the solution. So if it is that government extends an invitation, based on his words, I would assume he will be there as well.
But making separate statements, that's what I'm saying, making separate statements isn't doing it, especially if some of those statements include controversial things like, blaming the current administration for the situation, or trying to justify past practices in the current areas.
You heard the press releases that were read?
Yes, I heard the two releases.
One stated,
and
as it relates to the silence of the Prime Minister. I think that's what the People's Action Movement was talking about, the silence of the Prime Minister. And the other one was saying I think it touched the silence, but not to such an extent, but said during term in office, they saw a reduction, it's back up now, and then there were some suggestions being offered.
But you see, that leads me to my second point, right? We need a meeting of the minds of how we really got here.
Who is going to initiate?
What really worked
and
what didn't. Because each side is unrepentant, Azard, that what they were doing in the past worked, and clearly it didn't. That was not enough.
So, okay, I'm asking you now, because I'm going based on what you're saying. There needs to be a meeting on the minds. And who do you think should initiate the meeting?
Well, I would always say that it's the government in power, because they have the resources and so on, and they have been elected to lead.
Thank you,
So I
and-
would say the government should
I
initiate.
agree with that. I agree with that wholeheartedly, and that is why I'm saying too, to support that point that you have made, that I am hoping that some sort of invitation is extended, because I believe it is for the government to lead on it and say, hey, guys, we have a situation. We need some assistance. How can we invite you in? But to say, oh, the opposition is just opposing for opposing's sake, but at the end of the day, the opposition is supposed to hold the government accountable.
Yeah,
and
no,
it's supposed
nobody
to talk
disputing
about the shortcomings of the government. And so in
Nobody
doing
is
so,
disputing that, Azard.
and they have done
the
so,
thing is, though,
and they have said too that they are willing to have conversations. So let the government lead. That is my
Okay,
take on it.
and yeah, I agree with you that the government should make some overture towards the opposition as well. But the thing is, right, you've realized that in the past, the one government might use the big stick approach, giving the gangs hell, and another might use the carrot approach, throwing money at the problem. And obviously, none of these have worked. They haven't solved the problem in a comprehensive, permanent way. Okay, so that's what I'm saying.
Well,
additional.
No plan is perfect. In fact, you talk about throwing money at the problem, but at the time when that was happening, it had its shortcomings, yes. But even so, at the time, we saw a reduction in the number of homicides. Was it a perfect plan? No, it wasn't. Could it have been improved? Yes, it could. But at the time, there was a reduction in the number of homicides.
Well, that in itself, though, Azard, is controversial. That has to be analyzed properly, because that reduction in the main part took place during COVID, when we had lots of things in place that were mitigated against the kind of criminal activity we had. Because remember, in the first few years of the last government, the crime statistics were still sky high. Okay, so but what I'm saying is we should go beyond that, right? And maybe even it might require going back to the drawing board and doing something else, but the whole of the society must buy in. So yes, even granted, I'm going to grant that there was a reduction in crime. The exact cause may be disputed, but surely some of those methods could be incorporated, could be integrated in whatever come out as best practices going forward. And thirdly, the Prime Minister, I think, should consider some kind of reshuffle, I think, to rid himself of that portfolio and let someone else concentrate solely on national security.
And I agree with you with that.
It's hard to do, but
I actually thought about that.
like
I actually thought about that this morning because, things happen and we are humans and we internalize and we think. And I thought to myself, maybe it isn't he should give up national security, give it to another minister and make that the sole priority.
Not just give it to another minister. Give it to a minister and that will be his only portfolio.
And that's why I said sole priority.
2 or 3 others.
That's why I said sole priority.
I mean, you see, you have to realize that it's really a crisis. If you consider this normal routine, we'll always have murders, etc., then it's going to be treated as such.
I'm glad you said that, Mr. McMahon. I'm glad you said that, because when we treat it and when persons talk about it being a crisis, a lot of people come and say, you're being political, but no, we have a crisis here. And it has to be addressed, and persons ought to speak out, and the government ought to lead.
Yes.
How about
no doubt about that.
How
the
about
last thing I would say, right? I am yet to be convinced that young people who are well educated and trained, gainfully employed, with a clear path to a productive and rewarding future, I am yet to be convinced they would go out and summarily execute their peers. That's a hard one for me to swallow. To prove what point? The government's role is to provide, and here the government comes in again. I know the prevailing view is, you can't hold the government responsible for crime. Of course. If they're not going to be held responsible for it, who would be? Right? The government's role is to provide an environment that is conducive to the proper socialization of our youth. right? It was always going to be a long, hard slog. I mean, there are no quick fixes and silver bullets for this. But we have to make a start. And the government need to make sure that there are economic opportunities. Those are created, investment and so on, and growth. And these are backed up by appropriate training and proper levels of safety nets. Not this huge welfare state that we now have, where most of the population the workforce seem to be on some kind of government dole. That does not make
Ira,
for a sustainable, thriving state.
Question.
Okay, we need to be weaned off of that.
Question.
Yeah?
You said the Prime Minister should consider giving up the portfolio. Mr. Dr. Rollins, Wussy Rollins, is eminently qualified. Why not make him he could be the Minister of State for National Security.
But remember, we have to look at
be considered. Yeah,
we have to understand.
It definitely is. I think somebody who knows the area inside out. It shouldn't be just any and anybody.
Yes.
Okay?
But guys, before we even talk about that, because Jamson made a point, but we have to also consider that the Constitution provides also too, and the law, more specifically, it provides who can become a senator and the number of senators in the House. So,
but it doesn't have to be a senator. He could be basically a minister in everything but name. National Security Advisor, but...
you said minister, so I just wanted to clear it up. You said minister, so I wanted to clear it up. Because we do have some parameters, so you can't just put people to be ministers without making some changes or removing one of the senators or something like that. So, because...
But this definitely warrants something as
yes, of course, and that is what I've been saying all morning. There needs to be something just to say, and I agree with you, just to say, we ain't responsible for crime, we ain't hold a gun to nobody's head, we ain't tell nobody go out there and kill. That is just to say that and nothing more.
And the problem too is that, okay, you might have a lull. And when you have that lull, it's almost as if you feel that, well, the problem has been solved. And then it just flares up again. That is not what we want, and that is why I say it has to be somebody who is not going to be distracted by other portfolios and so on to just deal with this particular problem. Okay, I suspect that is what is going to eventually.
And then too, Mr. McMahon, I think too, a government ought to be wise enough to understand what are the needs of the people, what are the concerns that need to be addressed, and put them on a priority list and fashion a national agenda that would address the concerns on a national basis.
The thing with that, and yes, I'm talking about government responsibility, but we don't want to put it all on government. There has to be individual responsibility, and that's why I say, if government deals with its primary role, make sure there is security first of all, because no nation can thrive in an atmosphere where there's no security, right? Make sure there is security first. That's the hard, big stick approach. But then make sure that they attract investment, provide policies that anybody leaving school can get a decent paying job. You can see progression, you can see social mobility, those kinds of things. That eventually is what's going to make criminal activity subside. Because like I said before, I mean, think of yourselves. Think of people you know, who you know for sure not going to get involved in those kinds of activities. They are usually people who see something better, a better future there. When you have people with no hope, when you educate people and they do what they follow societal rules, and then you come up and they see that there are no opportunities, or they see people being rewarded, people who are not followed the societal rules are being rewarded for bad behavior. What do you think they're going to be thinking? you have to provide the atmosphere that's going to make every person feel that they have a fair shot in the society that they live. Otherwise, we'll continuously have continually have these problems, right? But it takes a bigger vision, and like I said, it is not going to be easy. There's no silver bullet for this, but we have to make a start, and we make the start by first recognizing that the problem is at a crisis. It's been like that for a while. It's just like I said, that when it subsides a bit, everybody go back to sleep until the next time. Okay, we have to realize that long term, we can sustain this. Not in a small society like ours.
Okay.
You know?
Well, thank you, Mr. McMahon, for your contribution. Thank you. Really and truly, my heart goes out to everyone affected. We have a call?
Yeah, we do. We're gonna take it right now. Just give me a sec there.
No problem.
Hi, caller. Go right ahead.
Hi, good morning to everyone.
Hi, good morning. Good morning.
I'd like to add this particular aspect to the topic that I don't hear much people speak about. Mr. McMahon did address the whole notion that, it's not just up to the government, and I wholeheartedly believe in that. Neither administration will ever be able to really combat crime unless we, the people, really start to take stock of what is going on and start to look at what we need to do in our respective societies. And what I mean by that is simply this. A lot of the values that we used to adhere to and live by up to a certain point have gone from society. It's no longer a case where you can speak to people. They automatically get aggressive and physical by just bringing something to someone's attention. Once upon a time, you could have spoken to a child, and now the child will turn around and tell you, I'll shoot you. So I say all of that to say, crime is not just going to be addressed by national security. Social programs, schools, and a lot of the things that we used to do as youths. So like when we used to talk about, Cub Scouts and all those things, etc., etc. There were so many things for us to do to keep out of trouble. And then the other thing is, parents aren't parenting. They're leaving the kids with phones and tablets to keep them busy, as opposed to actually engaging, having conversations, etc., etc. I mean, I grew up in Connery, and at no point in time was I ever involved in any kind of nonsense back in the day when they had Death Squad and Acid Crew. And you would never hear my father and mother utter out of their mouth, they can't go with me and my sisters. Yeah. That was not an option. So I say all of that to say simply this. Yes, does the government have some level of responsibility? Without a doubt. But there is no reasonable way that people can expect any administration to really combat the issue of crime without taking stock of ourselves and starting to look at what is absolutely needed by us. Because many of the time, you go around and you hear the rumors, and Azard, you yourself were saying you heard this, you heard that. People know what's going on. Mm-hmm. People know who's doing this. Yeah. Without a doubt, but no one going forward. And then I will go as far as saying the police needs to take stock of themselves to determine whether or not they have internal issues as to why people aren't calling in more to say whatever is happening.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
That is a true reality that we need to really consider.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Then again, going back to the fact that we as people are not parenting and not taking responsibility for our own kids. Why is it that you're seeing children, 10, 11, 12-year-olds, out on the road at 10 o'clock?
Mm-hmm.
And we had to be inside at those ages.
Yeah. Definitely.
We have to take responsibility for that. I mean, Jamster, the other day, we were making jokes about it, but look at it. I remember my father telling me, don't ever make street lamp come on and you're not in my house. So this whole thing about, this entity responsible, that entity responsible, to an extent, yes. But we, the people, are the ones that are guilty at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Well, Carla,
and I think more discussion needs to be had around that.
Yeah. Well, Carla, just for me to say, I was in no way saying that the approach the whole responsibility is on government alone. I'm saying that is an all-inclusive approach. As you say, you rightfully say, you talk about the parents and you talk about the community. All I'm saying is that when that government ought to be the leaders in trying to curb some of these activities in terms of what we're seeing now as they have the resources. Of course, parents play a vital role because parents, they have their children. A lot of them, when you do talk to them, they say that they can't go with the children. And so if they can't go with the children, that's when I think there should be intervention by persons outside, such as government. And when I say government, not just the politicians, but the technocrats, the persons who are involved in ensuring that, additional support could be given to parents who can't go with their children, as crazy as that might sound.
Okay, caller, you're our last caller. Go ahead, be brief. 9:58, go ahead.
Good morning again. Yeah, politics again. Now, what I was trying to say, right, that these young men know what they're into. And that is the root cause of the problem. And that the police, when the police them catch these young men, especially those who get threatened and those who get shot and then die, question them, punish them, put them aside. Let pass some law for it because let them talk. Because they ain't speaking. That's the problem, they ain't speaking. And some of the parents them, they know what's going on with the children and they don't come out and say nothing either. So it's a tit-to-tat butter and fat all the time. And this is what we're facing. And let me tell you something, Jamster. I believe that here, if we don't get the root cause of this problem, and going on and this lot of talking and bringing out kind of thing, that's the problem, The police them put down the foot. And the law enforcement go in there, put down some laws to protect the police them. Because when the police them do things, the first thing, the parents then going to take them to court and the government got to pay big money and all these things. Put down the foot, the police then got to put down the foot. Jamaica and other countries put down the foot. Pressure these young men. Yeah. That is what they want. They ain't going to pressure from home. Because the parents then can't go with them. But I believe even in school, even primary school, you show these young people, you show these young children. You could then show the start out, how they're going to be. You understand? And it's a serious problem, my brother. And if government and organization come together to help clear these things, our tourist industry will mash up. Because we don't got problem with our farming already. We ain't got nothing. Every minute you hear our CBI program banding about talking about the CBI program.
Okay, politics.
Politics we have to curb. Yes, thank you so much. There's a Facebooker, Frank, on the Facebook and says, national security experts are ignorant to the facts. They are totally disconnected. She goes on to say, national security experts are square pegs in round holes. So this person is of the view that she says also national security can effectively handle crime if the experts know what they are doing. So those are comments being made, and a lot of comments are being made on the Facebook wall. In fact, this is a topic of great concern to many persons, and we are on our 10 o'clock. It's 10 o'clock, 10:01 now. Yeah. And of course,
we have Inland Revenue next.
We have Inland Revenue next, and so we'll have to get out.
I'm kicking you out.
So, guys.
Purple jacket and all. Get up.
Yes. Oh, my. So tomorrow, same time, same place, God's willing.
Yeah. Thank you for tuning
Kortensia, thank you so much for being here. Tomorrow we're supposed to have Michelina, but it's always a pleasure to have you.
Absolutely.
You bring the sweetness, you bring the life. Yes.
So thank y'all you so much. Too sweet. See y'all next Tuesday.
Yes.
Yeah, you have a great weekend, eh?
Yes, thank you so much.
And to both of you as well, and to the listening nation.
Sure. And all the people listening, stay online, stay listening. We got Inland Revenue coming up.